So we take the look out of the windows, and I'm going to talk about VUCA world, and later on I'll explain what that's what that means. But first I want to ask a question that refers to this picture that we have over here. This is a picture of sailing, ocean sailing. And my question to you is, are there any sailors here in the room this morning? Sailing fanatics? So two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, wonderful. Are there any mountain climbers? The second question, are there any mountain climbers in the room? No? Okay. Okay, I'll start my presentation with these two kinds of sports. They are both sports. They need a lot of passion, a lot of self-discipline, a lot of ambition, etc., etc., a lot of endurance, but they're completely different in the way they proceed. Mountain climbing, that's a sport, your goals are clear. It's the top of the mountain. You can see your goals. The way you proceed is very well organized. So these mountain climbers, they know every inch they have to travel and to climb. And in the third place, the aim of mountain climbing is not to fall down. So it's a risk-averse sport. Everything is done not to fall down. So it's to prevent that you're falling down. When we're coming now to ocean sailing, and this kind of extremes, it's also an extreme sport, but ocean sailing is different. Of course you have a goal, but it's 9 months far away. It's like the Volvo Ocean Race. You can't see it. So that means you have to make your own goal every week, every day. You have to make your own goals. In second place, you have to plan, and they're wonderful planners, and they plan everything, every curve they make. But they know in the moment of truth, you'll have to make decisions you can't plan in advance. And it's even that way that when I interview this kind of ocean sailors, they told me, you win in the moment, in your moments of uncertainty. And that's interesting. You win in your moments of uncertainty. And the third factor, ocean sailing has to do with competition. So you have to be faster than other ones. So it's a risk-taking sport and not a risk-averse sport. And my key message is we should act more like sailors nowadays than like mountain climbers. And that's one of the problems that we face today. We got a lot of mountain climbers mentality, but we're living in a world of ocean sailing. And just to give you the example of what it feels to be, or the experience of to be on a kind of sailing boat, I want to ask you to do a small exercise. That will be good to get some energy also. But please stand up. Is that okay with you? So stand up. The nice thing about sailing is that you never stand like you're standing here, but you're moving constantly. It's constantly moving. So please move with me. That this kind of constantly moving. You're not still, and it's can even be more on the back. Yeah, okay. This kind of moving. Then you have to have this kind of keep on moving. The boat doesn't stop. The first, the most basic procedure on the boat is the trimming of the sails, and that means you have to stand like this, and fast you go. Like this, and back again, the other way around, and the other way, and you keep on moving. But you no longer move from left to right, but also from back to forth. It goes like this, and you keep on going, and you keep on this. Okay, you got a picture? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you. The world in which we are living is much a world of this kind of complete, constant dynamics. First place is a world of shift happens. Continuously developments, new elements, innovations coming on, etc., etc. All these kind empowered by big forces, globalization, competition, etc., etc., but especially technology. And when we realize what technology is doing, I want to refer to one thing, the law of Moore. Every 18 months, the capacity of microchips is doubling and the price is halving. Consider what that would mean for your business. To be in a business where your performance every 18 months is doubling and your prices are halving. That's what's happening. That's what's happening just nowadays. That's only one element of the shift happens. Of course, the environment in which we're living is not only shift happens, but it's also shit happens. Conditions get tougher and tougher. Performance bars are rising and the conditions get tougher. And to describe this world combined of these two combined forces of shift happens and shit happens, we often refer to a word that's called VUCA. And VUCA, the name VUCA is an acronym that was framed by the American military in the 19s. And it was taken over by management. So nowadays it's used in business circles. And what does it mean? That's a world full of volatility. It's a volatile world, a world of constant dynamics, of things changing. And to give just an example out of the tourism world, half a year ago, my wife and I planned to go to Greece with our kids. And well, then things happened in Greece. And there was a lot of changing, and even 2 weeks before we were going on holidays, we weren't still unsure if it was possible. There were so many elements, so much information was coming on of what's going on over there. So there was also an enormous amount of uncertainty. Second element, could we go or shouldn't we go? Was it clever to go anyway, etc., etc. The elements were complex, we couldn't influence them. There was all this kind of factors playing and we couldn't, and the stories people told us were very ambiguous. And it was even more ambiguous as we were there in Greece, because we were on the islands of Greece, the Cyclades. It was complete Greece as we knew it 20 years ago. So nothing happened over there. But the newspapers we saw and the messages coming in, there was about Greece in total chaos. And so what's going on? It's an unreal world, it's an unclear world. What is really going on? So a world full of volatility, uncertainty, complexity and uncertainty. And playing on all levels, not only on the macro level, but also on the micro level. For those who think that is framed pretty in a negative way, you can reframe VUCA also in a more positive way. And then it starts to be suddenly a vibrant world. A world full of energy, of hope, of possibilities. Wow, that's great. An unreal world. It's a world of untangibles. A world of knowledge, a world of brands, a world of human energy, all this kind of thing. A crazy world. Well, it's the world that was coined by Steve Jobs, of course, the crazy ones, where guys like Elon Musk and it was mentioned in the short video we saw, they can take over space industry within a couple of years. It's incredible. Nobody can really imagine this kind of things happening. So a crazy world, and also a world full of abundance. Not so much a scarcity, but the abundance of choices, the abundance of information, the abundance of technology, the abundance of capital, etc., etc., etc. So VUCA world as a description, as a label for the things happening in the outside world. And the basic question, of course, is not only what is this VUCA world about, but how do people react to this kind of environment? What do people do with this kind of elements you see in the outside world? And this is small research we've done among thousands of Dutch employees. And we just asked them, how much do you like to change? How much do you like to adapt to this VUCA world? And we started right. There's 19% of Dutch employees, and there are thousands of them. That's the average, and these numbers they differ per sector. Because 19% says we're completely engaged and enthusiastic changers. We love it. We love this VUCA world. We flourish into it. And so these are really go-go people. These are people who want to go with it. And they say, wonderful. All these developments, it's great. 41%, they are the so-so people. These so-so people who say, well, we wait and see. It's nice that's happened. And it could go on, but could go also stop, so we don't know. And we wait and see. 41%, wait and see. So-so people. 31% is already cramped. They feel cramped. They have there are so many changes coming on, and their natural tendency is to be defensive. We should forbid this Airbnb. We should forbid the Ubers of this world, and we should stop it immediately because that can go on. Huh? It's a big menace for humanity. And 9% is totally disengaged. They don't care. They say, I don't care. I go on with my life and I don't care if you do it that way or that way. The question I want to ask you now, ask your neighbor, him or her, and ask them just for 1 minute about their attitude. So what's the attitude of your neighbor? Is it the go-go mentality of the first group? Is the so-so mentality of the second group? Or is the no-no mentality of the third group? 1 minute, is that okay? Is it clear, the question?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Well, it's interesting because you profile 3 of the negatives.
What?
You profile 3 of the negatives. Everyone will
I'm sorry, time is flying. That's a characteristic of the VUCA world. Just to ask, who is here in who are the people in the go-go mood? Who's go-go mood? Yeah. Okay, that's more than 90%. Who's the so-so people? Wait and see people. Yep. Okay. Who are the no-no people? We don't have them today. Okay, that's good. We don't have stress today, so that's great.
One number to add here.
Yeah.
Does anyone know how much percent of the employees knows what the strategy or the mission of their company is? Any idea?
I got it, but
That's scary because that also influences all what we talk
yeah.
here. Less than 5% of the people in companies know the strategy or the mission of their company. So 95% has basically no clue, hardly ever clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
And if you look at these numbers, then of course what it means.
Yeah. I didn't go into the causes of this because it's already, but it's very good that you say it. It's unmanageable. Yeah, it's scary, and will be one of the solutions to deal with this VUCA world. Know your ambitions, know where you're going to, and don't make too many goals.
Just to jump in on that, is that a lack of interest of the employees or a lack of openness of the companies?
No, I think it's a stupid thing how we organize it in the world. We think that first we have to think, and the guys who think, they're separated from the guys who are doing it. And then we think first we think, and then we throw it to the guys who do, and that won't work. And that worked when in routine matters, but doesn't work in the VUCA world. So that's a problem.
It's also a social problem because people don't care. Nowadays, if somebody needs food around your clothes, nobody looks, you look other side around. A couple of years ago, we helped this person, that was society that way. So actually we are in a society who cares.
Yeah.
Something going on, you look the other side. So
yeah.
You can see that also in the companies. I guess it's also parallel.
Yeah.
I would like to ask a question.
Yeah.
Because we are stating quick change.
Yeah.
But how quick is quick? For give an example, I was just looking to the cruise ship outside.
Yeah.
It's turning around in about 15 minutes, which is tremendously quick for a ship.
Okay.
But it's tremendously long for a small boat.
Yeah.
So how quick is quick?
Well, the standards are set. How quick do you want to have it? How quick does your customers want to have it? What are the norms? What are the social standards in your industry? And these standards are they're changing constantly. So when I look at my kids, I could wait for 50 minutes to wait for a movie to download or etc. But for them in 5 seconds, that's even unacceptable. Look in terms of service, the speed of help, so that changes. So we're constantly getting these influences from all over the world, and that frames our mind when quick is quick and what speed is really needed. So that has much to do with kind of social norms, as much with ideas. It's mindset, of course, what's quick. But let me say, there are some companies nowadays, when we can, the strategy of Google, because Google has a very effective strategy, because a lot of strategy, you can't understand them really. They're too difficult. Google has a very effective strategy, and I'll come to that. 10 times better. That's a strategy of Google, 10 times better. So we only do things that get, we only invest in things and people who do things that gets products and services 10 times better than everything that's on the market. 10 times better, 10 times quicker. So that will be the interesting question of this enormous boat. Can they do it 10 times quicker? Can they do it in 1 minute 30? That could be your ambition. If, of course, it has added value for somebody. Yeah.
But you also have a counter development of,
Yeah.
for instance, slow food.
Yeah.
You make your business of being slower.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's also very interesting. It's not only going fast.
No. But you're completely. I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah. Unfortunately, we only have 20 minutes, and but it's good to inspire. But we're still in the midst of all these questions, and yeah.
Maybe just one quick statement. There underneath it is sort of a normative idea that fast is good.
No.
So the green ones are the good ones, and that's the ones holding you back. But at the same time, I think, and we see that even within our own institute, that in these change processes, the ones on the left can be very valuable in making sure that you don't lose attention for certain details, or, as you said, 10 times better. Sometimes going really fast will make things better, but not 10 times.
Yeah.
And it's the ones that slow you down that sometimes help you to frame again, okay, but to what extent is this really better, and what can we do even more in that process? So, yeah, that's something I wanted to...
Well, it's an interesting point, but there's a supposition that quality is affected by slowness, and that you have that only when you want to go deep and you want to go into detail and you want to produce quality, then you have to proceed in a slow way. And the interesting thing nowadays is that you can proceed in a quick way and deliver quality that is at least 10 times better than everything we did before, and that's interesting. We can do both of them. So it's an end-to-end world. And of course there's a kind of element, and there's nothing...
If you are in a bad marriage,
yeah,
you want to be in the 19%, you think you want to get out. If you are in love with a completely new woman, you are in 41%, you think, I do not want to change anything.
Yeah. Okay, let me make one thing clear. I'm just describing what's going on. And for me, it's pretty okay. If you want to slow down, if you will sit down and wait and see, and if you as a company say, okay, it is all hyped and I don't believe a damn about it, it's okay for me, you know, it's no problem. And so it's not to kind of, I'm not giving you here moral judgment about what you should do. I'm energetic. So from me, you can already see where my inclination goes and what but that has nothing to do with the facts that are happening. So it's perfect, but everybody could or should make his own decision whether we take this development serious, if we want to do it or not want to do it. And then don't come afterwards when you took the decision, oh, I'm sitting down and wait and see. Don't come afterwards and say, well, this strange world that is proceeding and it's going away and it should be stopped, etc., because that's the way things are going. Yeah. Okay. But an interesting discussion, and we will take this on this afternoon. Oh, the computer stopped. Even Apple. Yeah. I will talk now, say a few words more on this kind of this group on the right. So everybody who said you're prejudiced for the right one, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, because I love these right guys. And I will proceed more about these guys. Who are they? And how are they doing? And why are they succeeding? And what might be the problems with these guys? We call them wave makers. With Martijn and Patrick, we're writing now the book on these kind of wave makers. Leaders, entrepreneurs, employees who just want to go on. These kind of go-go guys. And who are they? And what are they doing? What is their mindset? How are they behaving? What are they doing? And how are they succeeding? And well, here are some kind of characteristics on the right of this kind of wave makers, how they describe themselves and how we see them. And left are some of the companies, hospitality and tourism related or not, that we have been investigating. And of course, this kind of characteristics there on the right, the list is much too long and could be even longer. And it will make it easy for you, I will summarize them in 3 broad categories. So I will summarize them in 3 categories. The first one, all these wave makers, they have in a way, they have a positive outlook. That's interesting. They love this kind of fast-going, fast-changing world. They love it. They love the dynamics. They are born sailors. They are enthusiastic about it. They are optimistic about it. They are self-confident about it. And they got this element of autonomy. I can do it. I can change it. Or we can change it. We can do it. And the effects of them, they are manifold. In the first place, they are fascinated by progress more than to prevent things to happen. So this is a kind of progress element that's very much in the mindset of all these kind of wave makers. Second place, they are born multipliers. So they are connecting with others. And Martijn afterwards in the next speech will talk about this, a kind of collaborative economy. They are multiplying and they are working together, closely together with other people. And the most important even is that they got a growth mindset. They are curious. They are born learners. They want to learn instead of having a fixed mindset, we know everything already and everything is in order. And now we come to an interesting part. Does anybody know this book, Rookie Smarts of Liz Wideman? It came out a year ago. And it was interesting because it refers to the remark that Bill Gates made about you have to use the young people, especially the 20s, you have to use them in order to get new and innovative ideas. Liz Wideman did a couple of years research, and the interesting thing is that learning beats knowing in this kind of new VUCA world. Learning is a basic component of it. You should learn every day. And is it only the young people who have this kind of rookie mentality, this kind of mentality of being a newcomer, of not knowing really what's going on, of being curious? What is happening? And she says, no, rookie smart is not the exclusive domain of the young, the inexperienced or the naive. Even the most experienced can manage to adapt such kind of mentality. So it's more a mentality than an age question. And that's interesting. And I hope this afternoon when we're going into the groups, that this kind of rookie mentality will prevail there. Let's ask questions. Let's ask the good questions. And let's be driven by curiosity, not by the things we know already and say, oh, we know already, and it didn't work out or something like that. Be curious. Okay. That's the first element, this kind of positivity. The second element has to do with the bold ambitions that all these wave makers strive for. And we're referring nowadays in terms, and that's Google is doing it, in terms of, we speak in terms of moonshots. Let's take a moonshot. And even the guy from Google X, that's the guy, the part of Google that's doing all this kind of innovations of self-driven cars, etc., and the glasses that didn't work, and they're making their new glasses, etc. The CEO of this department, that's Astor Teller. That's a great name, I think. Huh? With such a name, you're a wave maker already. You're a born wave maker with a name as Astor Teller. And this Astor Teller, well, they talk in terms of let's take moonshots. It's often easier to make sometimes something 10 times better than 10% better. That's more easy. Why is that so? Because when you're working to make things 10% better, you inevitably focus on the existing tools and assumptions. So it's this kind of cry for be ambitious, be bold, dare to think in terms of the impossible. And that's a framework they use. You challenge radical solutions and the technology to have it. And that together in the center, then you get your moonshots. And I'm wondering this afternoon if we can figure out any moonshots for ourselves in the tourism industry. It will be marvelous, I think. Of course, as moonshot thinking, that's referring to the moon landing program of Kennedy and the Americans in the 60s. And for that, I want to show you, to get some close connection or view of this mentality and the spirit of this moonshot thinking, I want to show you a brief fragment of the speech Kennedy made in the 60s. And I want to ask you, what is he doing to convince his audience and the Americans of the importance of this moonshot? Because it was a strange moonshot. Let's go to the moon. It was not the kind of ambition you make every day. What is he doing, Kennedy? And how is he succeeding? Yep.
Say the moon. Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the others too. We shall send to the moon 240,000 miles away from the control station in Houston, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall, the length of this football field, made of new metal alloys, some of which have not yet been invented, capable of standing heat and stresses several times more than have ever been experienced, fitted together with a precision better than the finest watch, carrying all the equipment needed for propulsion, guidance, control, communications, food, and survival, on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth, re-entering the atmosphere at speeds of over 25,000 miles per hour, causing heat about half that on the temperature of the sun, almost as hot as it is here today, and do all this, and do all this, and do it right, and do it first, before this decade is out, then we must be bold.
Okay, what is he doing here? What is he telling us?
Well, he's touching people personally with that whole joke about, you know, Rice playing Texas.
Yeah. He makes very personal.
Yeah. So that's something that's very emotional for that audience.
Yeah.
Isn't he really linking it to what it means to be an American?
Yeah. So he tells a what, we go to the moon. Okay, there's a what and where. But the why, because we are Americans, we're doing this. Nobody in the world is doing this. But we Americans, we are bold. We are great. We are the tough guys. Yeah.
We had Sputnik, of course. They were very angry about the Russian
Sure,
success
of course.
in the 50s.
Yeah.
So they had to.
Yeah, but he doesn't mention it. We do it because we're Americans. Of course, there was some pressure on it. Of course, that was it. That was the situation.
It was a German success in that sense because it took all the knowledge to America at the time, by the way.
That's a background, but that's not what you see here. That's the kind of background knowledge. But there's a third element what he did. He said we're going to the moon. But what he's telling then when he proceeds on? What is
Something.
detailed picture. He gives a visualization of what's going on. We will make a rocket that is like this, a missile that's as big as the field where we're standing. And we will invent things, etc., etc., etc. So it's three elements. It's the how are we going to the moon, he's telling. And I wonder if there's only 5% of the people who left there. Afterwards, they could say, what we're going to do, what is our strategic goal? I think it's much higher. It would be, I think, 95% probably who knew. It's just a way of telling it. And it's the golden circle of Simon, of course, what he's doing here. It's the why, what, how. And he does it in a wonderful way in 3 minutes. And for everybody, it's clear you get engaged also by the personal element. And of course, the interesting thing is he speaks all the time in we terms. It's not I, as a president, I want to do this, but in the we terms. Okay. So, what's this?
You press a button.
Oh, I pressed the button. But the fantastic thing about Apple, you push a button, and then suddenly the VUCA world is there. But the third element, I can tell it without, the third element has to do with doing, of course. So it's not enough to have some kind of positive outlook. That's nice to have, and you should have it. It gives you the energy. They give you the energy to thrive in a world of, in the VUCA world. Second element, you have to be some ambitions, because there's too much to do. There's a world of abundance, so if you don't have any ambitions, so you can do anything. So you won't get anywhere. So the third element is start doing. And we're coming from a time where thinking was, well, the first thing we had to do. First think and then do. But the interesting thing, when you have a challenge, from time to time, and that's a new psychology and neuroscience that shows us, it's good to do things, then you start to think in other ways. So do and then think. And the interesting, and then I stop. Interesting experiments is the marshmallow experiment. Did anybody do this experiment once in his life? Yeah? Yeah. So you got the spaghettis and the thing. So, okay, I'm going to ask you. And the marshmallow, of course. Groups in a room are given 20 sticks and they're sitting on tables, 6, 7 people together on tables. You get 20 sticks spaghetti, 1 yard tape, 1 yard string, and a marshmallow. And the challenge is to make a construction, to make the highest construction within 18 minutes. To make the highest construction that is stable, so that doesn't fall apart immediately. So make a stable highest construction. And you give this assignment, you give this to the clever guys from university, the MBA students. What are MBA students doing when they get an assignment like this? What are they doing, the clever people in the world? What are they doing? They talk to each other, yeah? They analyze, I heard you saying. They analyze, that's true. They analyze a lot. What are they doing then, after analyzing? Make a plan. Make a plan. So make a design, first design, and then make a plan. And then after 70 minutes, somebody comes along and say, okay, you got 1 minute left. What are you doing then? Panic, cramp, and then they just fix something and it doesn't work much. We do the same things for people from the kindergarten. So 4 or 5 years old people from the kindergarten, how do they proceed? They start doing. Does it work in the first time? No. What do? They stop? Try again, try again, try again. Okay. That's an interesting thing. This is the performance bar. Hundreds of thousands of people have been done this, and there's been research, and it's interesting when you see all this. These are the business school students. Their performance bar, so that goes from 0 to 30. These are the people from the kindergarten. 2.5 times more effective when it comes to just fulfill this very simple challenge. This is interesting also. These are the CEOs. The CEOs are better than the business school students. That's interesting. But are not as good as the kindergarten guys. So that's interesting. There's some more interesting that the CEOs, when they are accompanied with the executive administrators, they're just better. But there's one group who is the best. They are designers and architects. Why?
Skills.
They have the skills. And it's very basic skills you can use. So they can do it on the autopilot. So this is not a message I'm giving you here to say stop thinking at all, but combine this thinking, doing element and turn it the other way around from time to time. Start doing and think in a different way. Okay. So the key message, and I stop here, the key message is we're living in a VUCA world. In this VUCA world, some groups, some people, some behaviors, some mindsets are more aimed to thrive in this world than others, this kind of sailing mentality. And the sailing mentality consists of 3 elements, broad categories: positivity, ambitions, and doing and can-do mentality. Of course, I didn't mention the most important part, and that's the joy and fulfillment when you realize your challenges. And I end with that. Thank you very much.
Ja, snap je ook. Ja. Deze blijkt bij jou ook een binnenzak aan de onderkant. Het is een mooi momentje om het even te wisselen.
We've waited years for this.
Oh, this is so exciting! I'm gonna cry! I'm sorry. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.